Hello, today I'm going to be talking to you about employee food safety training, and you are going to be following along with a sheet that looks like this. It's the PIC note-taking method, and what you're going to do is for each topic that I discuss, you are going to write under the P column the purpose for what the topic is. Why do you think we want you to know this? How is it going to help you, etc. It's pretty much your opinion of the purpose. Then in the middle, the I, you're going to write 3 or 4 important ideas that we talk about. And then in the last column, you can do this after this lecture. You're going to write how what you already knew connected to what you learned based on each topic. Okay? So let's get started talking about this employee food safety training. All right, so the benefits of food safety training. What's the purpose? Why do we want to spend not only time talking about it in here, but why do food establishments train their employees? What's the benefits? Number one, it's going to avoid the costs associated with a foodborne illness outbreak. A foodborne illness outbreak costs lots of money, and it just looks bad on the actual establishment, which leads me to number 2, which is to prevent the loss of revenue. So if you train your employees, they should know what to do. They wash their hands, they put their hair up, etc., which reduces the risk for foodborne illness. And if you get a foodborne illness outbreak at your establishment has a bad reputation, which in turn loses profit, revenue, etc. By number 3, by training your employees, is you're going to improve the employee morale and reduce turnover. Let me kind of explain that for a sec. Employee morale means the overall positiveness, the happiness, the environment that your employees are working in. So you want a positive morale, you want a happy environment. So if your employees know what they're doing, they usually, are happier when they know they have clear-cut expectations, guidelines for what they need to get accomplished at work. When your employees are happy, they stay in the establishment, which means you reduce turnover. Usually, food service establishments have a very high turnover rate, and that's because of inadequate training. Number 4, benefits of food safety training is you have increased customer satisfaction, meaning if your employees are happy and they know what they're doing, they're going to show that to the customer, and the customer is going to be very happy. All right, the next topic is the initial and ongoing employee training. Okay, so when you start an establishment, you should, by Illinois state law, especially according to the food code, you should be trained on food safety training immediately. It could be a day-long training, it could be a week-long training, it could be a 3-month training. It depends on the establishment. But it should be right when you start, and it should be consistent and ongoing throughout your time working, because you're going to forget the information if it's not refreshed to you regularly. This is the manager's responsibility to ensure that the employees have the knowledge and skills needed to handle food safety. It's the manager's responsibility. So if the manager is showing you what to do and you're not following their guidelines and their guidance, then there will be an issue with you. But if your manager's not making sure you know the knowledge, then it's on the manager. It's critical food safety knowledge for the employees to know. All it has to do, there's lots of rules and guidelines and whatnot in each of these 5 areas. So it starts with proper personal hygiene. That includes like washing hands, etc. Safe food preparation, everything from fork to the plate, so the whole production of how you make food. Proper cleaning and sanitizing before, after, during the food prep. How you handle your chemicals, and then dealing with pest identification, and then obviously prevention. All right, the next topic we're going to talk about is food safety training programs. Whenever you're establishing or developing some type of food safety training program for an establishment, you need to require these several essential elements. The first one is you need to have clearly defined measurable objectives. What that means is you need to know what you want your employees to do, and you write it out in an objective form, meaning the employee will be able to identify cockroaches, the employee will be able to wash their hands, the employee will practice washing their hands. Those are clear and measurable objectives. The training should support the objectives. So, for example, if you want your employee to be able to explain hand washing and also practice hand washing, you should have training about hand washing. You shouldn't just assume that they know it. So they should connect together. And then obviously after you've trained them, you should have some type of evaluation that will make sure that they have met the criteria of the objective. The work climate should enforce the training, so the manager should be practicing what they preach. If the manager says you need to wash your hands, then they should be washing their hands. They should be modeling the objectives to you on a regular, ongoing basis. And then obviously all of the management should be on board. All the management should be practicing what they preach. All right, the next topic is delivering the actual training. So a training plan is usually what an establishment would go off of, and it's almost like a lesson plan. It's a very specific list of events that will take place during the actual training session. When developing an actual training plan, which you're going to have the opportunity to do in groups, the first thing you're going to do is you'll create those learning objectives. What do you want your audience, your employees, what do you want them to get out of your training session, etc.? What tools are going to be needed for the session? Are you going to use a computer? Are you going to use computer software? Are you going to use poster board, etc.? What are you going to use? And then you need to have specific training points that would be covered. So specific topics within your that you would stem off of your learning objectives. How what are the guidelines for getting ready for this effective training? Well, first off, you need to prepare for the presentation. Don't just go in there cold turkey not knowing what you're going to talk about. You have ideas, have background knowledge to support what you're talking about. You need, at the beginning of a training, you need to make sure you are showing the employees or helping them understand what's in it for them. What are they going to get out of this? It's going to help them in their future. Not only in the establishment, but just overall life. Food safety training is something everyone would benefit from in life. You need to make sure that you're not just talking. Let the employees practice and apply the information. Use the information. When you are training your employee, you should follow some type of logical sequence. You should have a clear beginning, middle, and end. And it should be very identifiable with not only you as the presenter or as the trainer, but also the student should be able to see that. It's really important that when you're teaching new information to any people in general, that you're tying new knowledge to past knowledge, because it helps them remember things better. And also most people will have some type of background. You're just adding to the already known facts that they have in their fabulous brains. And then you're going to present the information in chunks. So don't throw it all at them at once. You're going to chunk it into small pieces that helps them remember and retain the information. There are several delivery methods, and you're going to be within your pair when you are going to be making a training plan. Each pair is going to have a training plan that's linked to a specific training method. So you should pay very close attention to these types of methods, so you know what that entails. One-on-one training would just be where a manager sits down with an employee and will go over like a manual, pretty much just explaining to the employee, and then obviously the employee can ask questions as they're going, etc. Very basic. Then there's group training, and group training is going to be done in a large group. Maybe people stand up. You have to involve the entire group. Okay. Then there's a lecture. You can do any form of a lecture. It could be something like this, where I'm doing a screencast. It could be an actual lecture with a PowerPoint. You can stand up and just talk and show visual examples any way you want to do it. But you do want to, catch your audience's attention. Then you can do a demonstration. A demonstration would be, if you're going to demonstrate how to wash their hands, maybe you'll explain to them why you want them to wash their hands, then explain the process for washing their hands, then you'll actually wash your hands, and then maybe you'll have them actually practice it. So a demonstration, explain before and then also as you go. That would be a good demonstration. Then role playing, create like a mini skit. revolving around whatever your topic is. You can create job aids, which would mean like you can make an online Glogster poster, an actual paper poster, diagram, etc. Then the training videos or DVDs, essentially pretty much like what we do on our Leiden Culinary site with the different food demos. That would be like a training demo if it was centered around safety and sanitation, obviously. Technology-based training, maybe if you create module-type programs on the computer. I know Culver's is a food establishment that has a technology-based training, and they have tests that they take online. Our summer school program is a technology-based program where the students kind of teach themselves and then take quizzes and tests on their own along the way. Another method would be games. Any kind of game you want to create that's centered around the safety and sanitation topic. And then actual case studies, which are real-world situations that revolve around food safety training. And then you would obviously read the case study and then identify how, what happened, who's it affecting, how could it have been prevented, etc. And then last but not least, the last topic I want to talk about is food safety certification. Now, this is something that is recommended, or in most cases it's going to be required depending on the state that you live in. And it's for the company managers and supervisors in all establishments that deal with public safety, public health, etc. So not just in food service establishments, also in hair cutting places, preschools, anywhere that's dealing with public safety and health. Okay. Now, what this certification demonstrates is that a person comprehends basic food safety principles and recommends food safety practices while they're in a working environment that prevents foodborne illness from happening. Now, to obtain this certification in the state of Illinois, you would take a 15-hour refresher course on the entire the Illinois Food Code, and then you would take a 75-question test, and you only need a 75% to pass, and then you would receive your food safety training, which is good in the state of Illinois, for 5 years. And here at Leiden, we actually provide this training for the certification, and we can actually license you. If you're interested in that, we'll be talking more about it as the semester goes on. Thank you. Have a great day.